Hello and welcome back to
Um,
another episode of the MMA Splits. I'm Matt, Josh. Fuck.
and I'm Josh Matt.
Yeah. I'm not cutting it out, Matt. I'm leaving it in. You know why?
Why?
I haven't got a reason. Alright, I'll do it again.
Who needs reasons when you've got COVID?
You know what? That was a good answer. I'm going to leave the whole fucking thing in. I was looking at the wrong camera for most of
Nice.
that. It's good. I'm Sly.
Just for the record,
That's
Josh,
Josh. Go on.
he is not the one. Sly Josh, whatever he wants to call himself for this episode, is not the
Me.
one with
Me.
COVID. I have COVID. Turns out that if you go to a festival and mosh pit and party and rave with 200,000 strangers for 3 days straight, you might get COVID. So that sucks. I'm not going to do as much talking, but it's a big card. Sly can't make it. Sometimes you
That's
just
not true.
gotta
I'm right here.
fucking rise up to the
I'm right
occasion.
fucking here.
Buddy, I've got too much brain fog. You're going to confuse me with all of the name changes. I'm barely concentrating. Please, let's just keep it simple names that I can understand.
You're
Otherwise,
barely
I'm
concentrating.
going to get all mixed up.
I Sly. I'm barely concentrating. It's okay though. Gonna be good too. It's
Oh,
gonna be a
please
short
stop
episode.
confusing
It's
me.
gonna be a very short episode.
Oh,
Alright,
God.
Matt.
I'm confused already.
Obviously, huge weekend coming up. We're all very excited for it. We might not be mustering the fanfare it deserves, but god fucking damn. Our boy Glover Teixeira defending his belt for the first time. Probably the first of 100 title defences, I reckon. I have picked Yuri Prohaska in this one. He's defending himself against the better Czech, not Petr Cech, Yuri Prohaska. I'm a little bit fucking excited for this one. It's not
Clearly
really.
prepared some of these puns.
No, not at all. I'm winging this, just like I do every week or twice a week. Um, this is almost like your classic grappler versus striker, except for the fact that Glover Teixeira is one of the more renowned knockout artists on the MMA scene. So, on the one hand, you've got experience, you've got versatility, you've got the grappling threat, you've got the knockout power, you've got the veteran savvy. On the other hand, you've got the young upstart who's got almost close to 30 fights, something like a 6-fight win streak in the UFC, and his last loss was against King Mo, no less. This is
He's got a 2-fight winning streak in the UFC.
what, Braska?
He's only had 2 UFC fights. He's only
Is
had
that
two
right?
fights in the UFC.
I thought he'd had more. Jesus
He
Christ!
fought Volkan and Rez.
He really has come out of nowhere. 'Cause King Mo was like back in fucking 2016, and I feel like that was one of the last ones before the UFC. But yeah, no doubt you're right.
No, he stayed in Ryzen until he felt he was ready. Was obviously very dominant in Ryzen, even his loss to King Mo 6 or 7 years ago. He avenged a few years later quite dominantly. Guy's scary, man. He's a creative striker. I think he's only ever had one of his wins go to decision. In fact, I think he's only ever had one fight go to decision. 3
Yeah,
losses were all finishes.
not a point fighter.
No. And he fights like a crazy person. I rewatched his fight against Dominic Reyes earlier today in preparation for this. And, I mean, he gets hit. That's the thing. But the head position, the fact that he's never really on the center line, the low hands, the setups, the jab, the way he uses his kicks, he's got such a traditional martial arts kind of approach with all of the kind of pros and cons that come with that. That I think is really difficult to deal with because there is a kind of a logic to it, but it's not a logic that you usually see with sort of more like kickboxing, boxing, Muay Thai based strikers in mixed martial arts. He does get hit though.
Well, yeah, he'll
Glover
take his
hits
head off
hard.
the centre line, but when he goes over to one side, he goes all the way over. And
Yeah.
he fully commits and he'll lean in on the end of shots where it's easy to say, you know what, technically you shouldn't do that. But when you win as often as he does and you knock people out as often as he does, it's not over aggressive in the way that, say, a Chimaev is over aggressive. It's over aggressive in the way that you're still technically sound. But he will take some risks, and he will leave his chin out there at the end of a combination. Can Glover
He can get
capitalize?
he can get sloppy if he thinks he's got his opponent hurt as well. With Reyes, he got caught with some really nice counters when he thought he had him hurt and just got a little bit too overzealous. Listen. I think this fight is over inside of 6 minutes. I don't see how this fight goes longer than like maximum halfway through the second round because either Glover's going to get knocked out or I think Yuri Prochaska gets submitted. I mean, that's it for me. It's can Prochaska catch him and avoid the takedown? Because if Dominic Reyes can take you down and get into mounts, Glover Teixeira can take you down and get you into mount.
Yeah.
And the difference is that if Glover Teixeira is on top of you, I don't know if just being explosive is going to be enough to get you back to your feet.
Yeah.
I've also got concerns for Yuri because he's been doing his media day stuff yesterday. And he's basically said he doesn't play jiu-jitsu. For him, there's only one thing that you do on the ground, and that is ground and pound.
Well,
now, to have that...
That's the point.
It is, but is he practicing defensive jiu-jitsu? Is he just a believer that jiu-jitsu is bullshit? Because I don't think Glover's the right guy to fight if you don't practice a lot of jiu-jitsu.
No, but I think
will
a guy
get taken
that
down.
tends to spend some of his training days just knocking fuck out of trees. I've got to believe he's putting the hours in. He's putting the discipline in. And I totally understand for guys where their grappling game's never going to be their strength and they're a knockout artist. Your grappling game should be completely built around just being able to threaten the obvious submissions off your back so people can't be complacent on top. You know, they got to keep their hands on your chest. They can't put a hand down. They can't get lazy. They can't get sloppy. And it's got to be built around sweeps and getting back up to your feet. You know, work that butterfly guard. Work some room. Fucking wall crawl. Whatever you need to do. So yeah, I mean, if you're a fucking knockout artist in a modern MMA environment, not necessarily the wrong thing to say, but is that where his heart is? You know, is that where he's coming from with that point of view? Or is he trying to kind of bitch out of the fight already? If he does get submitted, shit, you know, jiu-jitsu's not my game. I'm not a grappler, is what it is. I think it's probably the former, but...
Listen, I'm sure he's prepared. I just don't know if... I've seen guys take him down who do not have the grappling skills that Glover has. But I've also seen Glover get knocked out by guys that hit as hard as Yuri. And this is why I think this fight's either going to look like Rumble Johnson against Glover, or it's going to look like Glover versus Thiago Santos. Because I do think Glover's going to get hit. The question is can he eat a couple of medium ones, close the distance, get him down? And I think if he gets him to the ground, he will tap him. Or is Yuri going to be able to stay light on his feet and just land that monster shot before Glover has a chance to come in? Because I mean, Glover's still strong, but he's not quick. I mean, you can't
Never
really blame
was,
him
though.
at fucking 43 years old.
Yeah, but his game was never built around speed. He was never quick.
Yeah.
I
the
honestly
point
think
is
I think
we've
it's going to be
seen-
more like the Gustafsson fight. I think Glover's going to take the initiative. He's going to threaten. He's going to... I think Prohaska's going to come in with a lot of respect for him, but that respect will be well earned by the end of the first round. And I think it will be a slow-paced fight. I don't think we're going to be seeing more than sort of 20 significant shots around until the championship rounds. And I don't know. I haven't got like a very strong opinion on this one. I think either guy could win this. They're dangerous enough. I don't think it goes to decision. I think it is a finish. But I'm just sort of leaning towards Yuri getting a late KO in the 4th or 5th.
Now, that's interesting. I do not see this fight, whoever wins, I don't see this fight going late. But I really don't know who's going to win. I've picked Glover because I just think that he's deserved that as the champion. I think he's proven himself. I think he still seems motivated. He's, we talked about this after he beat Jan. He's somebody that there's no fat on his game. There's no wasted motions. There's no wasted energy. There's no thrills. There's everything is focused entirely on what gives him the best opportunity to win. And I think that's a hard guy for somebody like Yuri to beat. But I also think that Yuri can catch him. So I'm saying Glover very tentatively by sub. I know you and Sly have both gone Yuri, but
Yeah,
I just think
my thinking is
he'll
more.
get he'll get
The
the
guy's only
takedown.
been knocked out twice. Both times was an uppercut from an absolute beast. The Gustafsson one was 3 particularly nasty uppercuts coming late on in the fight. I don't think he's an easy man to knock out. And I think Yuri's just going to be a little too on his game to get caught and submitted with anything. I think it's going to be a slow-paced fight because that's how Glover's going to dictate it. I think overall he's going to be the better fighter, and it's going to be hard to go 25 minutes without getting caught by something real fucking nasty.
80-inch reach as well. That's a hell of a fucking reach. How tall is he? Like 6'4"? Big fucking
I don't
dude.
know, actually, but yeah.
Seriously, big fucking dude.
8-inch reach, guy for probably top 5 all time in the division. It's something.
Yeah. And unpredictable. And that's what makes it such an interesting fight, is you've got somebody that in many ways does everything so fundamentally kind of as you expect. And then you've got this other guy that just completely throws the rule book out of the window. You know, is a master of odd feints, odd movements, distraction, mixed in with a serious fucking knockout power. No, I'm looking forward to this.
Handle.
This fight, and a blowjob handle, which he's kept. So, embracing his inner samurai. Man, if this fight wasn't on the card, I wouldn't have done the picks, feeling the way I'm doing. But juicy calls. I'll tell you one thing that's bloody annoying, just talking about the card in general. I actually think the main card's really good. Prelims has got some dotty fights. It's in Singapore. Why is this fight card not starting till 4 in the morning our time?
I don't know. When they did
I thought they
Bisping
got better
Henderson
at
in
putting
Manchester, why the fuck did it start at like 4 in the morning or whatever? Just
Well, they used to do that, and then they changed it, and they started doing events based on like the local time. I know in Australia they didn't; they still did it based on American time. But
have they done that since?
I was really excited.
Since the buyout, though.
Less.
I
think it depends. Like maybe it depends on the market. I know when they did Australia in 2019, it was still at stupid o'clock in the morning. But I think it's a missed opportunity. Like I think they should do things at the correct time for the location that they're doing them in. But that's just me.
Oh. Bless you.
All right. Okay, so
these things though,
like,
because when they negotiate the pay-per-view points as well, I don't know how much that factors in. Because at the end of the day, like when they put like a pay-per-view in a place like Singapore or in the UK, where it's not, you know, you're not going to get more than one a year if you're going to get that. You're more looking at like 1 in 5 years or whatever. They know people will fucking pay the fucking gate fee to get in and stay up till ridiculous o'clock in the morning, and they get all the money for having a pay-per-view on at both an East and West Coast friendly time for the US. So they throw their weight around because they can.
Also true.
And
also true. These are all valid points. All right, so to round up, Glover sub, you and Sly picking the new boy Yuri by KO. Let's move on to the next one.
Alright, and I know I'm introducing these fights because I haven't got them up in front of me. It is a little bit difficult. The co-main is
Valentina Shevchenko taking on Tyler Santos.
Oh my God. This is almost like Holly Holm against Ronda Rousey. On paper, it's a very easy fight to pick. You got to go Shevchenko, but if there is a threat at flyweight, and no other threat has really emerged, like Taylor Santos is the only one that I kind of look at and I go like, you just have that scary knockout power. You have that scary like physicality where you might be able to bully the champ around.
Good grappler.
Even if it's just for a minute, you know. Yeah. I mean, who do you think's got the better grappling chops?
Good jiu-jitsu.
Valentina or Santos? Because even though on paper Santos is like a better grappler,
fuck knows, man.
I got to figure Shevchenko in an MMA environment's gonna have the the better ground game, the better scrambles, the better sweeps.
Yeah, it's Shevchenko's hard to take down. I mean, listen, I think this is a close fight. There are three. I say three, really two. No, I'll say three. I'll say three. There are three up and coming flyweights that are at different points that I think are the ones that could really do something and maybe give Valentina a run. One of them's
Outside of
Tyler.
Santos.
Uh,
Oh, okay. Wait, so
One of
hang on.
them's Tyler Santos.
Big Mac.
She's at 115. She's not
Oh,
125.
sorry, mate.
Alexa
Shit.
Grasso.
Maybe. Maybe.
Girls, skills, man. Girls got skills. Outstanding boxing. Outstanding boxing. She fights well in the pocket. That's what makes me think she'd have an advantage. She could do damage up close. And the other one is obviously Erin Blanchfield further down the road, who I think
Yeah, that's
could
a little
really
way
be
off.
something. But she's a few ways off. So I'm excited about this because this might be slightly competitive. But then I kind of have to remind myself, like Valentina Shevchenko only lost to Nunes at bantamweight.
Yeah.
So if we're talking about, and this is what we
By a
forget, it's
small
like,
margin.
oh, she's big, she's strong, by a small margin as well. But everyone's saying like, oh, Santos, she's big, she's strong. How's she going to deal with it? It's like, well, she fought was bantamweights for like most of her UFC career, most of her fighting career. There wasn't a 125 division. So I look at this and think, is she going to see anything? And it's not like she was heavier. She basically just didn't cut weight, and now she cuts a little bit of weight. So I don't see Santos having a strength. She might have a strength advantage, but I don't think it's going to be something that Shevchenko hasn't seen before. I think the only major difference is when we've seen her fight people like Lauren Murphy and Chukagian and Andrade and all of these people. She had a willingness to be very aggressive, particularly with the grappling, very forward thinking to a certain extent, because she just knew that she was stronger than them. Whereas I think we're going to see more of that, you know, lateral movements, counter punching, trying to be fast, that type of Shevchenko.
Well, yeah, I think she's going to keep it on the feet for all 5 rounds and just take a very sensible decision. She doesn't.
I
She
think it's a
doesn't.
decision. I don't see her finishing
She doesn't take risks
Santos.
when she doesn't need to. When she can just handedly beat someone, and she knows that they've got
Yeah.
that opportunity to like land that one shot. Unless they do something stupid that's going to open up a sequence for her to finish the fight, she's just going to take those points all day, take every round. I think it's got to be Shevchenko by decision. But I'm with you. This is exciting just because there's that kind of what if that hasn't been there. Well, really, for any Santos
The other thing
fight,
is,
apart from like maybe Andrade.
the other thing with Santos, she's only had one loss and it was a split decision, super close. We could be looking at a 20-0 undefeated fighter. And the other thing I think about is, let's say that Shevchenko had been fighting higher level competitors as a champion, and then she fought Tyler Santos. I think she'd probably win. But I think sometimes you can get comfortable, particularly when the level isn't up there. I think she's very used to just coming out, dominating her opponents. We talk like, oh God, what was the girl's name? Jennifer Meyer took her down for a round, and everyone was like, "Oh, she actually lost a round." That it might be a bit of a shock, even if she should beat Tyler Santos and she's better. Then she's going to have to adjust to the fact.
Let's be honest, so
it's a
that
step
Maya round's
up from what she's dealt with.
lay and pray, and it's very much Shevchenko's not going to open up a position where she can get submitted. So it's like she didn't lose the round so much as she conceded losing a round to not lose the fight, knowing full well that there was a very small chance that she wasn't going to win the next 4 rounds, or I think it was the second round that Maya won, or the first. Either way, there was plenty of fight
It was
left,
the
and
second.
Shevchenko
It
knew
was
she
the
was going to
second.
take it. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
I'm picking
her
Shevchenko.
fight
Man. I
IQ
can't
is
not.
just off the fucking charts. And if you kind of think of like a stagnant champ, that champ that gets comfy, that champ that gets fucking Juliana Pena in the face. Shevchenko's not really like cut from that mold because she's always had a different challenge. She's fought the all rounder, she's fought the tough scrappy girl, she's fought the grappler, she's fought the striker. She's gone up a weight. Well, started up a weight class and fought the goat twice. Just there isn't anything she hasn't
Well,
seen. She's kind of always approaching training camp with a different mentality, and she always fucking smashes it. And that's like the one common denominator. She executes. She is a fucking technician.
she's also she's got there's something. I don't think chip on the shoulder is the right term, but I'll give you an example. On the media days, they asked Tyler Santos what she thinks of Shevchenko, and she said she's about as close to a perfect fighter as you can get, but even as close to a perfect fighter as her will still have the odd flaw here and there. When Shevchenko did her media day, and obviously media being media, they drum up and said, "Hey, she said you're a pretty perfect fighter, but she said even you will have like the odd small flaw here and there." The devilish grin that went across Shevchenko's face, it is like that is it's the same as when people were saying Andrade could out grapple her, and she had that same kind of smile beforehand, as if like, "Oh, we will see, we will see." I think she likes to just prove how good she is every single time she performs.
Yeah,
She's, I think she is the best female martial artist in the world. I don't think she's got the names that Nunes has, and I think one of the issues with being with the way the flyweight division is, and the fact that she was kind of really the first champ, is she didn't have those previous flyweight champions to dethrone and defeat, which I think would have kind of added to her legacy. And obviously, that's the advantage that Nunes has got. But in terms of ability, in terms of technique, she's as fucking good as it gets, man. Mentality, she's born to be champion. Born to be champion.
yeah, man. I'd say beating Joanna twice, beating half of the bantamweight top five, and having two. Sorry, beating Joanna once, beating half of the top five of the bantamweight division, and going twice to close decisions with the undisputed female goat. She's got the record. It's not like a Dan Henderson level record, but it's fucking up there. And either way, like
Nunes
we're in
is the
agreement.
greatest. Shevchenko's the best.
Yeah,
Is that a fair description?
Nunez is the most decorated. Nunez is the greatest of all time, but Shevchenko suffers from being slightly smaller and having fought her twice. She will always be in my mind, pound for pound, one of the greatest, and certainly the greatest female MMA athlete ever.
Yeah.
Just period.
And she's extremely dangerous and talented one in many different ways. No surprises, we've all gone Shevchenko. I think me and Josh went decision, Sly went KO.
It's possible. I could see it happening. I don't think it will happen. I don't see it taking that kind of risk, but you don't know how the fight's going to play out.
The only thing I'd say is I could see Tyler Santos, she's got that dog in her. If she's 3 rounds down, 4 rounds down, losing the fight, and just decides that she's going to go for it, I can imagine Tyler Santos just swinging wild and taking crazy risks. And if she does that, I can see her getting counted. Like, I think Santos has got that. I'll fucking just bite down on the mouthpiece and flip the coin and just fucking see what happens if it's not going my way.
Yeah, I think if it comes to that, Shevchenko's just going to get out of dodge, stay out of the way, let her gas out, and then pick her apart. But
I,
again, like you
I'm
never know with
inclined to agree.
Shevchenko because like she sees things that we can't see, and even in the moment, like looking at the fight from the outside, you kind of think you can see a little bit more than the athlete. But Shevchenko, she's just playing chess out there. She's a few steps ahead. She's setting traps that I don't appreciate until after they've paid off. And even when you go back and watch the fights, you're like, maybe am I seeing the setup or am I just kidding myself into thinking that I'm smart enough to understand what's going on now? She is fucking levels ahead, streets ahead. Even.
Pleasure to watch him perform every time. But I like Tyler Santos. We'll see what happens.
What,
And appreciate this because the next 3 title defenses afterwards for Shevchenko, if she wins, are not going to be this fun or competitive.
probably.
Till she fights Alexa Grasso. He's booked against Vivian Araujo, and I'm really looking forward to that fight. I think that's in August.
Are you more
That's
excited for the co-main or for the trilogy fight of Wei Li Zhang against Joanna?
It's not a trilogy fight; it's a rematch.
Sorry, mate. I'm
It's what's with you today. You keep adding
I'm
every
you. What's
fight
with
you've
me?
added like an
I've
extra
had
bout
a
between them.
fucking nightmare day, and then just rush, and then I wasn't even sure we were recording tonight, and then I'm just flying by the seat of my pants. I have not even had a fucking piss since I got home. I've sat down and just fucking set everything up, and I'm just go, go, go. And I'm trying
I'm the
to
one with COVID.
simultaneously recall the fights from the last time I saw like the whole card about an hour ago to now with no prompts. I'm pretty happy that I remembered that it was Wei Li Zhang against Yuana next. If there's another fight in
Well,
between,
I mean,
I'm just
where
gonna
the
leave now. Like I'm out. But I'm pretty sure that's the
where
next fight, right?
of course it's the next fight.
Of
As far as I'm
course.
concerned, it could have been. I don't care that there's two title fights. This should have been the headliner. This could have been a headliner of a pay per view on its own with no fucking title on the line. But nothing is going to change the fact that this rematch should have been 5 rounds. No matter how excited I allow myself to get, I never quite get past a certain point because it's just not the same. Like what these women did when they fought each other the first time on the dawn of COVID and lockdowns was sensational. Weili Zhang versus Joanna one was is the greatest women's mixed martial arts fight of all time. I would say I'd still say it's the best fight I've seen live. So obviously I've seen great fights that I've watched back and stuff like that, but out of all the fights that I have watched live in the moment, that is the best fight that I have seen. And these two women beat the absolute living piss shit out of each other. Joanna hasn't fought in 2 years because of that fight, and Wei Li Zhang got knocked out in about 68 seconds in her next bout afterwards, after having to take a year off. So it was a fight that had a serious effect. It was also a fight that Joanna was only ever going to win in a rematch if it was 5 rounds, because Wei Li Zhang very clearly won the first 2 rounds of that fight. And I don't see a way for
It's
Joanna
not
to
how
win
it plays
this
out though.
over a 3 round.
Alright, someone losing 2 fights in a 5 round fight is very different to someone losing 2 fights in a 3 round fight. Game plans are different, approaches are different. You haven't got to like measure your pace in the same way. That being said, I do agree. It's uh, when you're going power versus technique, power tends to have the early going, and technique tends to come on strong in the later rounds. So yeah, I would love to see this one as a 5 round fight. I totally get though that these women aren't going to put in twice the fight for the same fucking money. You know, they near enough killed each other.
Also, this isn't a title fight. The winner of this wants to fight Carla Esparza in like 3 months' time. They want to be in decent enough nick that Dana White doesn't have to put somebody else in instead,
Yeah,
and then the whole fucking order gets mixed up. This is where I think. So the first fight, I think Joanna made a really big mistake early. I actually think she made that mistake throughout the entire fight, which is that she tried to just go flat-footed, stand her ground, have a Muay Thai fight. Just you hit me, I hit you, stand and trade. Who basically out fucking out punch the other one. And Joanna's longer, she's faster. I still think in pure striking, I think she's a little bit more technical. I think she's got a more solid kickboxing foundation that she can pull back on. But she kind of abandoned that quite quickly. And it was stupid because if she fights long, if she uses her movement, if she takes the fight a little bit more like when she was fighting somebody like Andrade and just pick and move, I think she could actually pull this off. But she's been out for 2 years and it's really hard to know. Like, I know that people can improve in the gym, but like we've seen Wei Li Zhang improve after the Rose loss in the octagon. We've seen her train with a
well,
variety
hang
of
on, no,
different, good train with
we've seen
Henry
the
Cejudo.
performance improve, but going from an early finish to finishing a fight, obviously, innately, like there's going to be a huge improvement there. The trick is, like, if you can get caught, you probably will get caught. And it's not that Ioana's going to finish her, but if Ioana can get like a couple of good shots in early and just change the momentum of the fight, I think she'd. It is a mistake to stand there flat-footed when you're the faster, more technical fighter. I'm not 100% sure she is faster, by the way, but she is definitely the longer fighter and the more technical fighter. But when you're going up against the girl that likes to get hit to hit, will eat a few to throw a couple, and you think you might be able to land 2-1 or 2-0, yeah, fuck it, you should stand in the pocket. Even if she has got the power, I think it's worth it. If you can get a good first round out of that sort of strategy, and really get Zhang like inside her own head, get her feeling a little dizzy, a little hurt, feeling like she's kind of playing catch up, then you can really implement that plan of fighting long, let her swing and miss, stay out of the way, stick and move, stick and move, stick and move. But I think she needs to get that good first round in, and I think if she comes in with the same mentality and it just goes a little bit more her way, it's gonna fucking pay off dividends. That being said, I'm still picking Zhang, but close. It's so close. In my head, it's like a fucking coin flip.
I The hard thing for me is that I still think I've rewatched their first fight. Oh man, probably 10 times in the last 2 years, and I still think every time I watch it that Joanna scrapes it. Um, it's fucking razor close, and she can win. I just don't think that the odds are in her favor. She's not on home soil. She's very much in Joanna's, much closer to Zhang's back garden. She hasn't been as active. She's older. Rematches very rarely favor the older fighter. Usually the one that's older ends up losing more dominantly if they lost the first one. It's more of a boxing trope, but it's a pretty solid boxing trope all the way through. In fact, there was an example of this. Inoue just fought rematched on air.
Yeah.
The first time they fought, it was the first time they fought, it was a razor close fight. Donaire pushed him all the way. Inoue just got the decision. They rematched again, and Inoue destroyed him. Absolutely destroyed him because he's just.
But again,
he's younger. He got better.
Like, I'm going to put it on this kid. I'm going to force them to work a little bit outside their comfort zone. They might have the heavier shots, but I'm going to fucking just stick in there to the end of the fight and see how far I can push them. Not a bad strategy. It's just in the rematch, Donaire ate some shit early, and Inoue kind of, in that finishing sequence, I think he only threw like one body shot. That left hook to the body for him is fucking money. He kills people with that. But Donaire just, I don't know, it was like he just kept thinking that extra body shot was coming, and he rocked him. And then after he rocked him, it was like about 6-7 shots where you were like, this is just kind of elder abuse. Like the ref, the ref shouldn't have, but the ref probably could have stepped in a little earlier there, just to spare the man. That was brutal after he rocked him. That was a nice finish.
Yeah, that's how you finish a fight. Moving back onto the UFC though, I don't know if you've seen how they released the previews for the main 3 fights, like the one that they're going to show before the fighters walk out a few days earlier on YouTube.
Well,
obviously they've been releasing these, and they've obviously done. No. So like when you're watching the live show, and you get that like 2-minute trailer for that specific fight before they walk out.
Yeah.
For like the main fights. So they released those a few days earlier now on YouTube to kind of build hype. And the one for Joanna versus Zhang is fucking brilliant because it's kind of like obviously going through the first fight and all the rest. There's one moment where it goes to Zhang. There's something about the way that like Chinese people, and Zhang particularly described it, that was just so epic. Where like obviously it's going back, Joanna's talking, and then it goes to Zhang. She's just like, "We did not care about victory or defeat. We were fighting for 3 things: instincts, toughness, and honor." I was like, holy shit, this is going to be fucking awesome. And even like Joanna talking, she's just, yes, my face was hurting very bad, but when you are the warrior, it does not matter. You fight. So these are 2 fucking tough chicks. And even if I'm disappointed it's 3 rounds, I still think they're going to bring fire. I just think Zhang's going to edge it again.
Yeah, I'm going the same way. I'm going Zhang by decision.
Sly also says Zhang, but he is going by knockout. Which means that we go down. I'm going to do the fights picks now because I'm feeling a bit better. And you haven't got them in front of you.
Try to steal my fucking thunder. I'm doing the main card at least.
You said... Okay,
no,
if you can do the main card.
I'm doing the main card.
You said you haven't got them in front. I was trying to help.
How?
You forgot You forgot when Joanna versus Zhang was on the card. I'm trying to help you.
I've had a long fucking day, pal. Get off my back.
You've had a long day.
Condescending prick.
All right.
Next up, we've got Rogerio Bontorin against my boy, Starboy, Manel Cup. And you know
Is
how
that
I'm
his
going.
ring name?
Yeah,
Style Boy.
Starboy.
A Star Boy.
Chico Estrella.
Star is in the things in the sky.
Yeah.
Chico Estrella.
No, star is
Okay.
in what he makes them see. Because of the power.
This is a fun fight. I really like Rogerio Bontorin. He's had some tough losses, a couple of tough losses where I thought he was looking really good in the fight. Like the Kai Kara France, he had that fight won until he got knocked out in the third round.
Yeah, I mean, he's top 10 for a reason. Just.
Yeah.
He's just like that
And
Bisping.
Manel,
He just doesn't get it. It just doesn't go his way when it needs to go his way, you know?
yeah, I agree with that. And he's fighting Manel Cape, who is explosive, exciting, creative. Once he realised that the first round counts
Yeah.
in UFC, he's looked really good. First debuts are hard, man. Like even really good fighters don't always hit the ground running when they come to the UFC, particularly if you're dealing with like a rule change or a scoring change or stuff like that. I think Manel Cape's got something. I wasn't won over. I thought you were kind of overhyping him. Since then, he's had a couple of really impressive wins. I don't know if he can deal with if he's got the takedown defense to deal with what Bontarin's going to chuck his way. But only takes one flying knee and he takes one perfectly timed uppercut. I've picked Cape.
Same. I think I went decision out of respect for Rogerio, but I might have gone KO.
I went KO.
Decision.
You went decision. I went KO. Sly is going Bontarin sub.
This is where I win it all, Sly, you fool. You short-sighted fool.
Yeah, that's the first separation you and him have had.
Yeah. I think we've gone the same way on the next one as well. It's the Jack Della Maddalena against
Amiv.
Oh, who's that from Eve? Emiv, the Russian.
Amiv.
Definitely some sort of former Soviet wrestle heavy welterweight. I believe he's Russian. I really like the dude. I think he's actually a pretty solid fighter. But Della Maddalena.
Ramazan Amiv.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good fight. It's gonna be a tough fight. It's very much striker versus grappler, but I'm just buying into the hype a little too much with Maddalena.
Well, Amiv does not have the same kind of recognition for his grappling as some of the other Dagestanis.
Which is fair enough, because some of them are decorated as fuck.
Listen, I think we've all gone the same on this one. I think Della Maddalena, I don't know if he wins this. This is a tough test. It's only his second fight in the UFC. Stylistically, it can always be difficult when strikers fight grapplers, but he's got so much power, his hand speed, he sets things up really well, he's got great boxing fundamentals. He tends to stay quite low. I always think that's going to, if your stance is naturally a little bit lower, I think it's going to give you a better base against a grappler. And
Amiv has a decent chin, but it's going to be stuck out to the side way too often because it's going to be hard to try and match Maddalena with the hands and try and work your way into to a single leg. He's going to be shooting from distance or trying to capitalize when Maddalena's coming in. It's going to be very difficult to not really eat some shit while you're doing that. That's a great style to have against a pillar-handed technical fighter. But against someone with a bit of speed, precision, and power, yeah, I don't like it for him.
Throws in combination as well. He's got power, but he's not just trying to knock you out with kind of like one absolute fucking monster. He'll look to land 2 or 3, and it's that combination that will do the damage. I'm going Maddalena by KO. I feel confidence on this one. I think he's going to show what the hype's all about.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I followed suit with the KO. I definitely went followed Jack in.
You went decision.
I went decision.
You went decision. Yeah, me and Sly
went KO.
I was thinking
what I wrote. It's easier than rewriting it. You guys went KO. I went decision. Doesn't matter. Sly went Bontarin. Josh wins it all. That's all I remember.
Right, onto the prelims. You got these, or do you need me to take over?
Oh no 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 no! My power trip is over. I understand you're busting at the seams here. Go ahead.
Headlining the prelims, Brendan Allen taking on Jacob Malkoon. This is an interesting fight.
This should be on the
Malkoon
main card.
the main card's pretty fucking good. I'm not gonna lie.
I would
They're
take
trying
one
to.
swing
I
calm
maybe.
off for this.
I disagree. I disagree. I think that's a really exciting fight. And I think the reason why maybe this is on the feature prelims is because I think that Malkoon is going to be on Brendan Allen like a bad fucking rash from minute one. Um, I've underestimated Malkoon a couple of times,
We all
if I'm
have.
honest.
He looks like a
There's a
tubby
couple of fights.
lightweight.
He kind of is a tubby lightweight, but it works for him. And, guys like Robert Whitaker have said that this guy's just an absolute monster in the training room. He's such a good grappler. He's so dedicated to it. He doesn't give up. He doesn't get tired. What was his last fight? His last fight, very few people thought he was good. AJ Dobson, he beat.
Yeah, we didn't pick him. Or the fight before that.
Abdul Razak Hassan. He really just absolutely just did not give the guy
Just manhandled.
a second to breathe.
He's like Matt Hughes reincarnate. I know Matt Hughes isn't dead, but I'm pretty sure Jacob Malhoun was driving the train that hit him. Yeah,
That's
I'll say it. I'll put it out there. Pretty sure that's how you absorb a man's power. You hit him with a train.
Brendan Allen's well-rounded. He can grapple. He's got submissions. He can strike. He's a little hittable for me. I think you saw that in the Chris Curtis fight. I think he can get out-grappled. I just think Malkoon is probably not as good of an overall mixed martial artist as Brendan, but he's better than him at one aspect, and I think he's just going to take the fight to where he needs it to be. I've said Malkoon decision. I think I've said decision. I might be alone on this one.
I think you are. I was, again, coin flip, because Malkoon looks like a tubby lightweight, but he grapples like a fucking gorilla. And Brendan Allen, for me, always will be a grappler. And even though he's got the longer limbs and the better submission game, I don't see him submitting Jacob at all. And I think he is just going to have to kind of try and tag him up and just get an ugly decision. I think a split decision, 29-28 across two cards, that would be enough for my boy Brendan. Sly went the same way, so it is what it is.
He went sub. He went Allen sub.
But he went Allen,
Sly.
so I'm pretty sure I'm going to get him on the picks rather than the methods this week.
Yeah, you guys only have one difference so far. So, really, so far it's all on the Bonds run. Sting Choi taking on Joshua Kulabao. This is a fun fight. Choi's a dangerous guy. Lost to Bruce Leroy. But actually, there's no disrespect in that anymore. Bruce Leroy's starting to look like he's putting it all together.
Yeah.
I like Bruce Leroy.
It was a decent rear naked choke. It wasn't something cheap, something stupid. Alex Caceres is an athletic, nimble, agile, long fighter, and shit. If you don't put him on it, put it on him early, he has every chance to fucking just read you and sneak in when you're weak, and either just land a stupid fucking kick you never should have eaten. Just take your fucking back. Yeah, there's no disrespect in that one. Kulabao, impressive. I'm going with Sung Woo though. I'm a Troy boy. I went decision, I think.
I think you went decision. I wasn't sure on this one. I ended up going Kulabao because sometimes it's nice to be different. I think I was slightly fooled by influenced by the records, but hey, I'm not apologising for that. I've gone Kulabao decision.
One fight in the UFC though, hasn't
he? He has, but he looked good. You and Sly, I think, both went for Choi by decision. Should be a good fight.
Another close one. It's got the makings of a good card. You might not be excited about the prelims, but I like how even the matchmaking
No,
seems to be.
I'm excited about the prelims. I just said it was spotty, and I'll give you an example of spotty.
Go on.
Mahesh, Mahashetti taking on Steve Garcia. Mahashetti making his debut. Steve Garcia, I'm sure I've seen. I can't remember. It's
Yeah,
been a tough COVID-filled week.
he fought within the last year. I think that was his debut. I think he's got one UFC fight. I can't think for the life of me who it was against. Pretty sure he didn't win though.
Well, I've picked Steve Garcia just because I didn't want to pick a debutant all the way out in Singapore. And I think he might have been a late notice replacement. He was only added into the UFC like a week ago.
Garcia's not bad. I think I went Garcia decision.
You did. So did Sly, except he went for KO instead of decision. So, I mean, we're pretty fucking shot for shot so far. Not a lot of differences. You know?
Got that week 12.
You never think the show was called... Yeah, you never think the show was called MMA Split, but I think we're about to get some difference, at least between you and Sly and myself. Because Andre Fiallo, one of my favourite new fighters that's popped in the last, 10 months or so, taking on Jake Matthews, who I'm a really big fan of. But I kind of feel like we're starting to see where Jake Matthews' ceiling is a little bit.
Jake Matthews is that guy that you love to see lose to your favourite fighter. You're like, yeah, I really root for the other guy too. This is a good fight. I don't care who wins, but you know Jake Matthews isn't going to win that fight. He's definitely going to win.
Yeah, he's had a cup.
There's no way I've shown him that hard.
He's had it.
Sorry.
I just think Fiallo, man, he came in against short notice against Michel Pereira, that I think we're all having to accept is a pretty hard guy to beat over 3 rounds. Did not look bad in that fight at all, and since then he's torn through his last 2 opponents. Absolutely torn through them. Great boxing fundamentals, power, forward thinking, can take a shot. This is a tough night for Jake. It's a really tough night for Jake. I mean, he can mix it up. He's very technical, but the consequences are different, and the hand speed, I think Fiallo's going to be way more comfortable fighting in that boxing pocket, and if he gets him up against the cage or just is able to get close, I don't think Jake's going to eat too many and still be on his feet. So I've gone Fiallo KO.
Yeah, this one's an easy one for me. I think Jake's going to shoot him for that first takedown early, realise he's running a fool's errand, and from there on he's going to eat a lot of shit until he can eat no more. You can quote me on that.
Agreed on that. Sly has gone for Matthews by decision, however, so he's clearly viewing things from a different perspective. So hey, a couple of fights of separation now. That's good news. And that takes us to the early prelims. Only 3 fights in the early prelims. With Methetha versus Kosuke getting cancelled. And we've got Kang Hyun-ho taking on Danae backed Guerrero. This was a hard one to pick, but at the end of the day, I've had brain fog all week, and I couldn't really remember who Kang is. So I've picked Batgarel.
Yeah, this one was an easy one for me. I've gone Batgarel. I picked this kid a lot. He rarely comes good, but I just feel like this week he's going to do me proud. Did I go decision? Pretty sure I went decision.
No, you and I both went KO, and then Sly, completely different, has gone for Kang by sub.
Beating Sly with a cushion. That's always a good week.
I know, right? 2 more fights. Liang Na taking on Silvana Gomez Juarez. Gomez Juarez has already fought once in the UFC. I think Liang Na's fought a couple of times. Silvana looked great in her fight. She lost it, but great hands, power. She just got caught being too aggressive trying to finish a fighter on the ground who had good jiu-jitsu, and she got caught in an armbar. I think she will learn from that. Liang Na, the only fight I remember seeing from her is when she fought Kana Losi, and that was a really good fight. But she was completely exhausted after 6 minutes. So factoring that in, I've gone Silvana. I think I've gone decision. KO. I've gone KO for Silvana.
Fair enough. I went decision because I made these picks in a hurry, and I really just went off the betting line on this one. Just I was like, shit, Vegas are favouring her this heavy this late in the week. Why pick against it? I've gone Juarez by decision.
Probably smart. Sly really separating himself in differences on the early prelims. He has gone Na Liang by sub. And that takes us to the opening fight of the night. Jocelyn Edwards taking on Ramona Pascal. I have gone, even though she's let me down many times, for Jocelyn Edwards by decision.
Yeah, she lets you down, but she's impressive. So, I don't know. Just feel like Edwards is too much fun. Familiar. Edwards by decision. Tell me Sly went the other way.
He went Edwards by KO, but I think you guys have got enough differences. And those are the picks. Thanks for watching, guys. I've got to go because I do not feel good. Hopefully I don't have COVID next week when we do the breakdown show. Like and subscribe as always. Bye Dave, bye Laurie, bye Trifo. And write your own picks in the comments if you want, guys. It'd be fun if we can give you a shout out for whoever does that. Thanks for watching. Peace out.
Yeah, by the way, Dave, you fully owe us picks at this point. So I want to see your picks this week, pal.
Definitely.
And
I have a fever
apologies
and I
for the...
got out of bed to do the show.
Well done,
Respect
Matt.
that.
Thank you for
Like the video.
doing this
Comment.
week. And apologies that we didn't have the breakdown for last week's fights. We had a technical issue. That was all on me. But I'll find a way
Then
to
I
make
got
it up to you.
COVID
I'll
and we
reduce
couldn't
some
record.
extra content this week doing something fun.
We'll do something. We'll do something. Guys, it's a great UFC card. Main card's fantastic. Some fun fights dotted through. Enjoy them. Watch them. We'll catch you next week.
Peace.